This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Patriots defeat the New York Jets today to move them to 500 on the season. Still last in the division, but 22-17 final score. It seemed like a pretty close game the whole way through. We'll dive into all the details and all that stuff in a minute, but I'm here with my co-host, Chase Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
Yeah, it's good to be back. We missed the last couple ones, Cody, too, so don't worry. Everyone has scheduling issues, so it's good to be back, and I'm glad that it's on a win. We didn't really talk about the Bears game last Monday night, which I'm sure we'll hit on at some point in this game, at least parts of it. But New England finds a way to win. It seems like a classic New England win where you win with your defense, and that's the scary thing about this team is I just don't know if you can continue to beat the great teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, the NFC teams that are great, and continue to have faith that this team is going to be a Super Bowl contender. And I don't think anyone thinks they're a Super Bowl contender, but the way the Patriots are winning games the last couple of years have been very, very scary. And I don't think that it's something that New England can rely on, but a win's a win, gets you to 500, gets you back on track, something, and honestly, it's a needed win after the way that you performed last week against the Bears. So it was good.
Yeah, I mean, last week was quite awful against the Bears. We won't dive into that too much, but that was one of the most embarrassing losses that I could remember as a Patriots fan in quite some time. Just bad, just penalties, just getting beat down and blown out at home on prime time against one of the worst teams in the NFL. It was embarrassing. It was bad. But today, yeah, like you said, I agree with pretty much everything you just said. It's great to get a win. Samuel here says Zach Wilson gave us this win. That's 100% true. I mean, if it wasn't for him giving us the ball 3 times in the second half, that game might go differently. And the defense stepped up. They didn't look great the whole game necessarily. It was a little slow start at first. The offense is really concerning. It's really concerning. I know the Jets defense is good. I know we're missing David Andrews. Devontae Parker was injured early. So that's something to consider and to take note of. But just in general, it's tough to win football games. Like you mentioned, against Buffalo, against these teams that can score. We didn't make them punt at all last year. So it's going to be a shootout when we play them. If we want to win, it's going to have to be a shootout because I'm sure it's going to be a tough to stop that Buffalo offense, the Chiefs, whoever. This team isn't built to win a Super Bowl. This team isn't built to go deep into the playoffs right now. It's just not. And it's unfortunate to say, but just watching this football team is like, I don't know, that this offense is so stagnant. There's nothing downfield. The 90% of our game plan involved Ramondre Stevenson on a check down or Mac Jones running for his life with his legs. And that's just not reliable. That's not an offense. Mac Jones is not Lamar Jackson. You want his legs being something to carry you down the field, especially with an injury. And he was getting cracked back there. The O-line struggled today. We'll get into all that. It's just, yeah, I unfortunately, I agree with Light Shadows here. Playoffs is not something that seems like something that's in the cards for us for this year, at least not how we're playing right now. I mean, could that change? Yes. Could we go on a run? Absolutely. But the way this team has looked the past couple games, I find it hard to believe that they're going to be a serious contender at all for even necessarily the playoffs right now, just the way things are trending.
Yeah, and I think it's surprising because going into the season, if you would have told me that our defense would have been what's winning us games, I probably would have been a little skeptical, but I think our defense is close. I don't think that they're there where it needs to be a true playoff contender or compete with the Bills in the AFC East. I think they're close. A little more experience to the young corners. I think our safeties are good enough for sure. And the way that they use them and rotate them, you could probably say you would like another younger, linebacker that runs sideline to sideline, can cover better. I think when Barmore's healthy, the defensive line is good with Judon, Uche, Simons. Yeah, Duggar was out too. So I think our defense is close, but you look at the offense, it's 2 guys today, and we are so far off of being even close to being able to put up points like some of those other teams are and play against a great defense too. And so it's scary because you have, I think our running backs are good, Ramondre, and if they keep Damien, I think that's a solid situation. But our tight ends have been non-existent this year, which was not a problem last year. Our offensive line, we've had so many inconsistencies at the tackle position. You probably, if you want to be a great team and you want to protect Mac Jones and be able to stop these elite pass rushers in the NFL, you probably need to replace both tackles because Trent Brown's on a 2-year deal, and I don't know how he's looking for the next or for the future. Isaiah Wynn is probably out. I don't think Marcus Cannon's the deal or is the answer to that. So you probably need to get guys there, and you probably need to get a true wide receiver number one, re-sign Jacoby Myers for the amount of money he's going to demand because he deserves it, and hope Tyquan Thornton develops. And I'm still not sold on, obviously I think Nelson Aguilar will be gone. I don't know what Devontae Parker's injury status will be, but there's a lot of positions on this offensive unit that still need to be figured out, and they're so far away, and you still got to wait for guys to develop. So I think these last 2 weeks have really reeled in the Patriots' expectations on what they're going to be for the foreseeable future and how far they still have to come as a team on both sides of the ball to be a true contender.
Yeah. And Carlos here says, today just felt like last season the offense looked mediocre at best, and Folk won us this game. I would say the offense last year is better than the offense has been the past couple of games. I mean, this offense has been atrocious. It's disgustingly bad. They can't get anything going other than a check down to the running back. It was really hard to watch. And anytime the offense gets the ball, I have zero confidence that they're even going to get a first down. It's that bad at this point. It's got to be one of the worst offenses in the NFL, which is really sad to say. With some of the pieces we have, there's no reason that we should be in this bad of a situation. And is it coaching? Is it Mac Jones? A little bit of both. I don't know. We'll dive into that obviously, but it's tough. It's a tough situation. It's not what I expected it to be this year for the Patriots. I expected us to take a step forward from last year. I mean, we kind of expected us to be right around where we're at right now, record wise, based off our predictions preseason, but that wasn't expecting Mac to go down with an injury and some of the other things that have happened. I think we had us one game better than we are right now, and kind of on a bit of a roll. And that's kind of not how it feels right now. It feels like we're trying to roll up a hill instead of rolling down a hill right now, getting momentum. It just seems like we're going the other way. So it's tough. Carlos here says, honest question, guys, did you legitimately think that we would make a deep playoff push this year? I honestly did not even expect to match last year's performance. So I'll let you touch on this first, Chase.
I think we both had us at 10-7, which was matching
9-8.
Oh, right. We did. Yes, you're right. 9-8. I changed mine from 10-7. I threw in another loss. I forget, but 9-8, right? And I think that we didn't expect to make a deep playoff run. Some people did. I saw some people saying 13-4 or, whatever crazy stat prediction. Or I was like, I don't see that. I don't see 13-4. I don't see 14-3. I don't even see. I thought 11 wins would be best case scenario, and that still doesn't probably win you the AFC East. You're probably guaranteed a wild card spot at that point. But I didn't have high expectations for this team like that. But if you would have told me that their offense is looking as incompetent as they are right now, I would have been a little bit more, no, probably not. I think that this offense will take strides. You have more chemistry with Mac and the offensive line, with the receivers. You added Devontae Parker. A lot more guys are going to develop. So that's the biggest thing for me is I didn't expect a deep playoff run. I didn't expect them to be, pushing to really make the second round of the playoffs. It probably would have been a first round exit or something if I would have put money down on it. But the way the offense has looked compared to what I thought it would be, when I thought it would be our strong point in the offseason, when you lose JC Jackson, you lose some of the other guys on defense, and you're like, how is this secondary who consists of Jalen Mills, who's never been a great cornerback, three really, high potential rookies, but haven't taken a lot of snaps, and then Terrence Mitchell at the time. And now that's the strong suit, and that's continuing to win you games. In a way, it speaks to Bill's coaching and how the defense is always ready to go. But then in another way, it's so frustrating because nowadays, not many times are you going to see a defense win you a championship like it used to. And I think that that's what all Patriots fans want, is they want to see that explosive offense that's fun to watch, that pushes the ball down the field, that can compete with the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons of the NFL. And you haven't seen that, really since Brady left.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, the whole coaching situation, it looked okay for a little while. I don't know how you feel about it. The situation we're in as far as the offensive coaching staff, it does not excite me at all. And the amount of mistakes and just fundamental things like penalties and stuff like that, it's baffling on on this side of the ball for the offense. It's just holding, illegal formation, just every time you get a good player, not even a good play necessarily. It's just there are way too many penalties, mental errors, physical errors. It's not pretty. And I got to think that the only thing that changed from last year to this year is the coaching staff on that offensive side of the ball. Other than that, we added a weapon and we switched around the offensive line a little bit. But we have talent on the offensive line. We have good players. I don't think it's necessarily all about the players. Isaiah Wynn, yeah, he stinks. Trent Brown, he needs to be better. You can't put it all in the coaching, obviously. But I think a big part of this situation is the coaching staff and the lack of, you got Matt Patricia calling the offensive plays and coaching the offensive line. Both of those things have been horrendous, and it's not getting better. I think you're starting to see tendencies. I think we see the same 3 play calls in the same situations every single time. And I think teams are knowing that, and they're locking up our receivers downfield, and nobody's getting open. The offensive line is getting beat, and they're sacking Mac, and they're destroying him back there. And he's got to run with his legs or check it down to Ramondre. It's nothing. It just, Samuel says it here. We looked outdated, like our coach. We looked outdated. It's just, I don't know. It's not a pretty offense. It's not. I just have no faith that they're going to move the ball down the field anytime they get it. It doesn't matter who the opponent is at this point. I know the past 2 defenses have been better than obviously the Lions and the Browns, but you have a lot more confidence going up against even the Colts, who haven't been a phenomenal defense. They've been pretty good this year, or going up against Buffalo. Like what's going to happen then when it's like a stacked defense? It's just, I don't know. It's not great. I'm not super excited about the offense moving forward, and I don't really know where we go from here the rest of the season with the coaching staff. Not going to change. That's going to stay the same. I'm not really quite sure what the direction of this team right now.
The problem I have with the coaching staff is I don't care that Matt Patricia's calling plays. I think that New England could get behind him calling plays. If they had the right talent is what I mean.
It's just so predictable.
It's so predictable. The other thing is our quarterback's coach is Joe Judge, who the most experience he has on the offensive side of the football is 1 year when he was the wide receivers coach with New England. And you have a second-year quarterback, and you're bringing in a defensive/special teams guy that was a failed head coach with the Giants, and you're relying on him to develop your second-year quarterback who showed all the potential in the world last year, and you give him very, very limited new weapons on the side. I would say Devontae Parker and Tyquan Thornton are an upgrade, but they're not massive upgrades. They're not a Jamar Chase type upgrade. They're not going out and trading for Devontae Adams type upgrade. And you're expecting, Tyreek Hill, and you're expecting Mac Jones to make this second-year leap that all the other quarterbacks in the NFL have. I think it's unfair to him. He does not have someone there developing him. He pretty much is there developing himself. And so that's what is so frustrating for me, is that there is no one there helping Mac Jones develop into where he could be or where he should be at this time. And yeah, the offense has its struggles with the coaching staff. I think it's a very broken up coaching staff and probably not ideal. Ideally, you'd want a true offensive coordinator, someone who has experience calling plays in the NFL there and has, an experience being with a good offense. And then you'd want someone that can help develop Mac. And so that's why I'm so confused why Patriots fans wanted to chase out Josh McDaniels, because I'd do a lot to take back Josh McDaniels right now. I know that the Raiders look bad, but as a head coach, Josh McDaniels has not been good. But as an offensive coordinator, he's continued to, protect his quarterbacks. He calls good games. He develops them. So, and he wouldn't even be my ideal pick. Like, I'm not saying if I had any pick in the world to be the Patriots offensive coordinator and to develop Mac Jones, I'm taking back Josh McDaniels, but you got to have someone who has that experience, and New England does not have that. New England has no one that has any experience of doing that. And Mac Jones, it just feels like they're leaving him out to dry, and it's kind of frustrating.
Who just kind of a side question? Who would you pick if you had your choice of anybody? Like even head coaches like current right now, like a Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, Brian Daboll, like.
Yeah.
Who would you pick out of those?
Can I be realistic, or do you want me just to say anyone?
Anyone.
Then probably Andy Reid.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you're ideally, it would have been to bring in Bill O'Brien. I think that he has an experience in the NFL. He has an experience in college, and he knows how to develop NFL and college quarterbacks. I thought it would have been perfect for Mac Jones. He's, familiar with the Patriot system, coached under Belichick before. I think that he would have been great. And that's the thing that worried me about anyone that New England was looking to hire is they were just looking to hire someone that fit Bill Belichick's system and was, hey, I've coached with Bill before, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to fall in line and I'm going to listen to exactly what he says. And I don't think that is what this offense needs. This offense needs someone that can come in and share their outside experience and not go against Bill Belichick, because I think that causes
their own
problems,
opinion.
but their own opinion, their own style of offense. This offense needs a new way, and it needs to go towards kind of like what Samuel says is it's outdated. The whole team looks outdated. Like, get this in a vertical passing scheme offense, and I think they tried to do that with the zone stuff, the Kyle Shanahan wide zone schemes, but it's not working and stuff. And then the other thing is, if you're going to bring in an offensive coordinator like that, you can't just keep the receivers and tight ends we have. If you're going to bring in a spread style offensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator that wants to push the ball down the field, it's also going to do Mac Jones a disservice and the Patriots a disservice if you're not bringing in guys that can run the routes and can get past guys and create separation in one-on-one. So there's a lot wrong with this offense, and there's a lot that it needs fixed. And it's coaching, it's player, it's personnel, it's a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Carlos says Patriots need weapons are strictly speedy rack guys close to the line of scrimmage right now. Samuel asks if we think we'll pay Jacoby. I hope so. If we're gonna pay anybody, it's got to be him. I just feel like he's the type of receiver we want. He's not a yards after catch guy, but he just gets open and has been Mr. Reliable. He's been our only real playmaker this year. I'm worried about what Mike says here. They're going to run Stevenson into the ground. He's gotten so many touches and so many carries and out of the backfield. You already see him being banged up a little bit on a couple plays there in the Jets game, but he's the only person doing anything. Him and Mac Jones are the only people creating yards with their legs, which is scary. That shouldn't be the case. So, let's get into, okay. Actually, we'll say I work every Sunday, so I only catch the Pats on Red Zone. It feels like every time I see Mac, he's in the shotgun mostly. Is that accurate or no? Do you know the percentages off the top
I was
of your
trying
head?
to look it up, and
Okay.
I'll try to continue to look it up while we go through here and throw it out there. But
Well,
I know that they're too predictable when they're under center and when they're in shotgun. When they're in shotgun, it's drop back pass. When they're under center, it's true run. And that's what I was concerning about. Mac Jones still only has 12% of his passes in play action passes. That was up around 30% last year. So you got the run game going last year, and then he threw play action passes off of it. And that's what got our tight ends involved. That's what got, easy catches for Jacoby and stuff. And not that he's still not getting easy catches, but they're too predictable when they're under center or in the shotgun. And that's what's so frustrating is I feel like they're making it where to me, it's an easy fix. And maybe it's not. Like, we're out here critiquing NFL coaches. Maybe it's not that easy of a fix, but when you're watching it as an average fan, you're like, oh, this is going to be run. And then there it's run. And then, oh, hey, it's 3rd and 7. So now let's get in the shotgun and just throw a straight drop back pass. There's not much deception. There's not much that teams have to think of. They're allowing their guys to play fast. The first couple drives, the Jets linebackers were just flying downhill and just smacking our dudes because they knew that they didn't have to worry about anything else other than the run when they were under center. So that I would say that that's pretty accurate, but I'll try to look up the exact stats right here.
Yeah, I mean, I strictly remember one play that we were under center, and it's not like we had the extra O lineman in there, and it was a heavy package necessarily like that. But we were under center, and they go to hand the ball off, and it's like there's no fear that there's gonna be play action or anything with Mac Jones because everybody just fired right to the back into the line of scrimmage. And if we would have had play action, if anybody was running anywhere behind the linebackers, they would have had a ton of space. But I don't know. It's got to be one of the worst offenses in the NFL right now. There's no, like you said, no creativity. The play calling is extremely simple and predictable. I mean, me sitting at home, I can pretty much tell you what's going to happen for the most part on a decent amount of plays, especially in key situations. It's like we know what's going to happen. And they have Cool Genuine Phil here says, why does Mac go in the shotgun on 4th and 1? I think that was the series I was talking about where it's 2nd and 1, and obviously you need a yard for the first down, and the Patriots drop back Mac into empty formation in the gun, nobody in the backfield, and try to pass the ball 2 straight plays and don't get it on 4th down, and it's over. So it's like that's where they try to get too cute. How about you hand the ball off for the 1 yard? Don't try to get too cute, too creative. They try to be creative and unique at the wrong times, and it just doesn't work out, and it just puts them further behind. It's just they have no sense of timing on when to call certain plays and what to do things for. And I think that's what McDaniels did so well compared to what this coaching staff is doing right now. It's bad. It's just bad offense. It's bad coaching. It's bad play calling. It's bad execution. It's just not good. It's ugly football. We haven't seen this from the Patriots offense in a while. Obviously, the past couple of years, I know the Cam year was what it was, and last year I thought was pretty solid. I thought we were going to look better than last year, but it's been worse, and we're trying in the wrong direction. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy, but I don't know. I don't know where we go from here and what's going to be the whole plan with the offense and how it gets better from here. Because Jonnu's getting a ton of money wasted on him. Cody says, who did Jonnu piss off? Jonnu's a great player, and he just still isn't getting involved. That was one of the main keys everybody was talking about. Get Jonnu involved this year. Unlock another aspect of your offense. Hasn't happened. I don't know. I don't know. We'll get into the good, bad, and injured here in a second. But you got anything else?
I did like the 4th down call, and I will say this: that was on Mac Jones, in my opinion. He didn't throw it on time. You need 1 yard. You need 1 yard. Hunter Henry had leverage on the safety who was running down to take him. He doesn't throw it on time. He tries to go for the big play. That was on Mac. They did a very similar play on the touchdown to Jacoby Myers. He throws it on time. The safety's late on the motion. They score a touchdown. They get 5 yards. In that situation, you got to throw the ball fast. You got to throw it on time. And I felt like he was indecisive right there. And I think that that's what we've seen a little bit early in this season, is that I don't know if Mac Jones is trying to make more happen than what he should, but I feel like he settled down there. 3 straight drives, we had field goals, 4 straight drives where he was taking the passes that they gave him. And that's what we saw his rookie year. He was taking what they gave him. He wasn't trying to force things down the field. So I'll say that 4th down one, I thought New England had it. The first one that they didn't get, I thought that they had the play. They had it there. Mac Jones misses the throw. They run a very similar play. The next 4th and 1, he executes it. They score a touchdown. So I'll say that it's not all on the coaching staff. I mean, I agree with you. If it were my choice, I was a little surprised to see that they even threw it on 4th down when everyone knows that your run game's your strength. I thought they were just going to hand it to Ramondre, hand it to Damian Harris, someone get a yard, even quarterback sneak it for that matter. Like, that's what I thought they were going to do. But I didn't think the play call was bad. They got it there. It's just sometimes Mac Jones is making a little bit more complicated reads than what I think he needs to be making. So there's criticism to go all around. I don't think that this is on one person, on one position unit. Yeah, I am very upset that New England takes all this talent and money that they spend, and they just seem to not care about using it. Hunter Henry has been non-existent this year, and he was your best receiver last year, especially in the red zone. And what do we have problems with this year? Red zone scoring. Now, penalties have killed us in the red zone, but Hunter Henry isn't even getting targeted in the red zone anymore. And it's frustrating. It's been a weird year for the first, what are we, 8 games in? It's been a weird season so far.
Yeah, and it wasn't even necessarily that one play call that frustrated me. It's the back-to-back. You have 2 plays to get 1 yard. You're telling me you can't get 1 yard if you do 2 different run plays?
You should be able to.
I would think with this offense, this run game, you would be able to do that. So that's kind of more
the one thing about that, just real quick before you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing that's weird about that is if you know you're going to go for it on 4th down, throw it on 3rd down. In my opinion, if you want to throw the ball on 1 down and it's 3rd and 1, but you're like, hey, no matter what, we're going to go for it on 4th down. I think you should throw it on 4th or on 3rd down and then say, okay, well, we're just going to run it on 4th down. Or like you mentioned, throw it or run it twice on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, because I guarantee you can get a yard with the offensive line or running it. So it was a little weird that they still, after missing 1 4th and 1, they go back and throw it again, but they execute it this time. It doesn't matter. But I agree with you. I think if you know that you're going to go for it on 4th down, why not run it on 3rd down? Because if you get stuffed, then okay, we'll just go back to the passing play we want. That's my thought there.
Yeah. The majority of those Stevenson runs are losses for Sony. Talent is everything. I mean, the amount of plays that Ramondre makes is pretty absurd, honestly. Like he's a really talented back. He creates something out of nothing all the time. in the passing game. You think he's going to get 4 yards on a screen or whatever it is, and then he makes 3 guys miss and he's getting a first down. It's like, oh, he was great today. He's been great for us all year. One of the things I wanted to touch on just before we hop into this last thing, because I know we're already half hour in. My thing is, so Mac Jones obviously threw that pick that was called back because of the roughing the passer. Ugly play. Looked like maybe a miscommunication between him and Jacoby. Maybe he thought he was running an out route and Jacoby ran like a curl or a hitch route. After that, we had 19 seconds left and 3 timeouts, and we handed the ball off 2-3 times in a row when we were nearing the red zone. You're telling me you're not going to try to score 7 points or try to go for a touch? It seems like the confidence is not. I don't know if the confidence wasn't there in Mac Jones after what we just saw. I don't know what the deal was, but I get it. I get you want to play it safe. I get it worked out. We won the game. But you got a chance to get 7 points on the board. You got 20 seconds and 3 timeouts. You got to try to get 7 points. Obviously, don't be stupid. But what is 3 draw plays in a row to get 1 yard and kick a field goal going to do? You're not even going to try to score? Stuff like that doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not sure if it's a confidence thing after what just happened with Mac. I don't know what it was, but that was odd to me too.
To me, it really felt like they were at that point. They were just trying not to screw it up, which is not the right.
It's not
approach,
a way
in my
to.
opinion.
It's not a way to win a football game. Like,
Now,
you don't play the game to not lose. You play it to win.
That's what it felt like to me. And I agree with what Carlos says right here, that Ferentz being in and David Andrews being out is a huge loss for this offensive line that I think a lot of people are overlooking. But it just felt like to me when they got the lead and they had kicked those 3 field goals and it was 19-10, that they're just like, okay, let's just run the ball. Let's get the clock to run out, force them to use their timeouts. Our defense is going to stop them. Zach Wilson's going to throw us another easy pick. They were playing to not lose that game in the last couple minutes. And yeah, it worked, but it's not going to work most of the time, in my opinion. And I don't think that you can rely on that. And you got to continue to put points on the board and continue to be aggressive and stuff. So that was, it was frustrating. It's just like, what are we doing? Like, we're just content with hitting field goals. And luckily we have a good field goal kicker in Nick Folk, because without him, who knows what our record would be these last couple of years. We'd probably have lost 2 or 3 more games than what we already have.
Yeah, he's been great. And Cody here, I'm not giving up on Mac either. I feel bad for Mac. I feel bad for what the fan base did to him against the Bears, chanting for Zappy before he even got a chance. He's been put in a bad situation. He's been fighting his ass off to get on the football field. He's been a great leader. He's had a great attitude through this whole thing. Mac Jones is not the one who should be getting booed or people cheering for Bailey Zappi. Like, I get it. If your team's doing bad, if he throws 3 picks, I get it. It's a sport. Some people do that, but to be booing him and chanting for Bailey Zappi, what are you trying to do to this kid? Are you here to watch the Patriots win football games and support the players who are on the field? Or are you here to be an asshole and chant for the backup quarterback and play head games with our franchise quarterback who's a first-round pick? Like, if you were at the game and you were chanting for Bailey Zappi, the first drive that Mac Jones was in, you need to grow up and you need to realize what it is to be a football fan, because that's not what it is. You don't chant for the backups, chant the backup's name as the starting quarterback's going on the field, fighting to be there with an ankle that we thought was snapped in half when it first happened. He's here and he's recovered in half the time he was supposed to. He's still fighting through things. His foot is numb. Like, this kid is battling and he's doing what he can. And I don't agree with what the fans did. I think between the pulling him after the interception and what the fans were doing and the whole Zappy thing, I think it's a shit show. And I think this team has not put him in a good space. And I think they're going to screw up our first round pick, who has a ton of talent and is going to be a good player. I think this is what bad franchises do to quarterbacks. We see quarterbacks who have talent. We see Trevor Lawrence. We see some of these other guys, Zach Wilson, whatever. You put them in a bad franchise, their careers end really fast. And right now, what the Patriots are doing to Mac Jones, year 1 was great. This year, they're not doing that. They're putting him in a horrible situation. They're not supporting him. His head has got to be all messed up after just any human is going to have these things. He's got so much pressure on him he feels like he can't do anything wrong. If he doesn't get a first down, his entire stadium's going to boo him. It's like, he was probably relieved to go on the road because there's not going to be Zappy chance. He's not going to be, you know what I mean? It's just support the players who are on the field. Be there for the guys that are there and root for them to have success. Don't root for Mac to fail so that Bailey Zappi can come in and do his, that's not what this is about. It's about the Patriots winning football games, making it to the playoffs, winning a Super Bowl. That's what we care about. So I don't love the lack of support that Patriots fans gave to Mac Jones when he came back. I think they should have been cheering him and for everything he's done so far, for everything, all the beatings he's taken from this O-line being absolute garbage the past 2 years in certain situations. He's a tough kid and he's doing his best. He's fighting out there. So lay off, like give him a break, especially when you're there. You want to say things online and give your opinions on certain things. I get it. You got to hold people accountable for bad performances, but that's no way to help our football team win games. You're supposed to be home field advantage, and you're playing mind games with this kid. So leave him alone.
Most people wouldn't be back in 3 weeks playing off a high ankle sprain like he has. That probably should have required surgery, trying to lead his team out there. And I think Devin McCourty said it perfectly, where he said that they play in an area where Patriots fans are really spoiled. And we're both Patriots fans, and everyone in here should be Patriots fans. I would hope so. Maybe there's one that is not a Patriots fan anymore, but the Patriots fan base is spoiled as shit. And I'm a Jazz fan because I live in Utah. I have season tickets to the Jazz game. Guys, trust me, there's not more heartbreak and anything than being a Jazz fan. Think of being a New York Jets fan or a Browns fan that have gone through all those quarterbacks. The Patriots are spoiled as hell. And that's crazy to say because we haven't won many games the last 4 years. But we've been so spoiled with the Tom Brady stuff. And now we're seeing what it really takes to build a team correctly and how hard it is, because it is hard to build a dynasty in the NFL. Look at the Chiefs. It took them a long time, and then they finally got their quarterback. They had a really good quarterback in Alex Smith, and they never got over the hump. Then they finally get Mahomes, and now they're over the hump. And then they haven't even been back to a Super Bowl since then. Well, they have, but they lost to the Bucs, right? So it is so hard to win in the NFL. And I think that Patriots fans just expect us to be back there every 2 years just because of what happened and what they're used to. And I think that's unfair, unrealistic. And I hate losing, trust me, but I also think it's very, very fun to watch the Patriots build a team and, develop these guys and do it how the other teams have. And it's going to be painful. It's going to be really painful. We're seeing it right now. It is painful to watch this Patriots team play most Sundays. But in the long run, it's going to be worth it when Mac Jones pans out, when they get him a true wide receiver, when they get good coaching on that can back him up on both sides of the football. So I don't think that we should be turning on Mac Jones like we have been. I think that, yes, we can be critical. I've been critical on him. He has not played anywhere near the expectations we should. But like Mike's saying right here, to say that he's not a 15 pick, that's totally not true. He had one of the best statistical college football seasons.
He was almost picked third overall.
Yeah, and I would bet if the Jets or the Niners fans, if you were to ask them if they'd rather have Mac Jones than the guys that they have, Trey Lance and them, right now, maybe they wouldn't say it because of the way Mac Jones has played, but they would have said it last year.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden Patriots fans are turning on him. But Mac Jones had one of the best statistical college football seasons. He should have been rookie of the year. He had a great rookie season, and New England does nothing to go out and help him, both coaching staff wise. They don't help develop him. They don't give him any receivers. What do we expect? Yeah, he's not playing like a top 15 pick because our two tackles and everyone else are leaving him out to dry. And yeah, maybe there is some trust issues in there, but I know if I was Mac Jones, I wouldn't trust many things that's going on in there. There's not many things to trust. There hasn't been many good things coming out of the Patriots offense the last couple of years. So yeah, right now he doesn't look like a top 15 pick. He doesn't look like a top 30 pick, but I have no doubt that he can get there with the right coaching, with the right playmakers around him, and with the right system. He was great at Alabama, and I'm in the whole, he was at Alabama, he was with other 5-star receivers. Then go get him freaking wide receiver ones, and if you want him. If you want him to play great, go get him the weapons he had out there at Alabama. Oh, it's not realistic? Really? You can't get him Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? Because I think that a lot of teams were willing to give up what Miami did for Tyreek Hill. A lot of teams are willing to give up first-round picks for Devontae Adams, but Bill Belichick just wants to keep underpaying guys and not sign anyone and not draft anyone.
Great results.
And expect the results that we had through the early 2000s, early 2010s. So it's unrealistic, in my opinion.
I agree. And Mike, like just to make it clear, kind of on my point that I was just making, everybody's entitled to feel however they want about certain people. Like I have no problem with that. If you don't think Mac Jones is a top 15 pick, I'm not here to convince you that to feel a certain way. Like you feel however you want about it. I have my opinion. Jace has his. You guys have yours. That's totally fine. My problem is when you're a diehard fan of a sports team, your job is to support the players who are in there, root for them, root for success, not root for failure. So that was my problem with the whole chanting for Zappy and booing Mac and all. Like, that's what makes me angry. If you don't believe Mac has a skill set to be a franchise quarterback, a top 5 quarterback, that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not saying I think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think there's any reason that Mac Jones can't be our franchise quarterback and be a top 10 quarterback and lead this team to a Super Bowl. If you surround him with the right supporting cast, good coaching, and you get Matt Patricia and Joe Judge out of there as the offensive minds here for running this thing, I think Mac Jones can be a great quarterback. And I that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean you guys have to feel the same way. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying support the guys who's in there. Don't play head games with them. Don't what are we doing? This is stuff that you would think he would be getting on the road, is getting chants yelled at him and things left and right. At home, it's supposed to be the environment that's building this team up and giving them an advantage. And at the end of the day, that environment against the Bears was not helpful at all for Mac Jones or this offense or anything. So I agree. He hasn't been great. The offense is, I'm frustrated. I want to win games as well. That's not the way to do it. So I'm not, if Mac keeps playing bad, we're going to talk about it. If somebody else keeps playing bad, we're going to talk about it. But that doesn't mean that if I'm at the game, I'm going to the game next weekend. I'm not going to be going there and chanting for Bailey Zappi if Mac Jones throws an incompletion, or you know what I mean? That's not helpful. So I'm going to be quite frustrated if I hear people saying stuff like that at the game next weekend. So that's my 2 cents on that. And we're 40 minutes in, so we got to get to the good, bad, injured and kind of start rolling through here. But you got any final things you want to say?
Yeah, I'll say this will close. Carlos hits it on the head. Trevor Lawrence was the second best quarterback prospect coming out of high school of all time. He had a great career at Clemson, and he was horrible last year. And overpay or not for Christian Kirk, whatever you think, and whether you thought they should have drafted ETN in the first round. And
he's a stud.
And obviously the whole Urban Meyer fiasco. He is head and heels better this year because they bring in Doug Peterson, and Doug Peterson did great things in Philadelphia, won them a Super Bowl with Wentz, and then obviously Nick Foles goes in. He is a developer. The coaching staff, I know that they don't make the plays on Sunday, but they make a difference. They make a huge difference. And even getting some guys out there, yeah, Christian Kirk's probably not a number 1 wide receiver, but he has been playing good football for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I guarantee their fans wouldn't say that he's been an overpay with his production so far. So, yeah, I think that the coaching staff will be a huge help for Mac Jones if they get someone in here. And I hope that it's like Cody said, that Bill O'Brien comes in as the OC. I hope so. And I would not be mad with Judge and Patricia as positional coaches. I think that they're very good, smart coaches. I just don't think that they're offensive coordinator type of coaches in the NFL. So
they're in over their head right now.
They are. And and I said this before, it's kind of unfair to them because they're being put in a spot where they're not comfortable and they're learning on the fly too. So I feel like it's unfair for a lot of people in the Patriots organization, not just the players.
And I'm not upset with Patricia and Joe Judge necessarily. I don't think it's their fault. Like you said, I'm upset at Bill Belichick. Everybody in the world knew this was a bad idea, except apparently Bill Belichick. He thought, oh, we can just throw this together and get this done and when games go to the play. Like, no, everybody knew before the season started this was a horrible idea, and everybody was right. And that's what's happening. That's what we're seeing. So I'm not upset at Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. As much as I don't want them to be in the situation they're in for us right now, it's not on them. They didn't ask to be the OC. They didn't ask to be the OC and the O-line coach or the quarterback's coach or whatever on a side of the ball that they've never done before. I'm sure they're getting a ton of hate for this, and it's not their fault. At the end of the day, Belichick is the GM. He's the head coach. He makes these decisions. So it's on him. And that's my frustration there. But all right, we got to get to the good, bad, injured. We'll kind of try to cruise through this a little bit. But who's your first good of the day?
Let me throw this up, and we already talked about it. I just want to get the exact stats, but Ramondre Stevenson leads the team in rushing, leads the team in receiving, 71 rushing yards, 72 receiving yards. He doesn't find the end zone, but he whenever we needed a player, whenever we needed yards, who do you go to? Jacoby Myers or Ramondre Stevenson? And most of the time it was Ramondre Stevenson. He did it on the ground. He did it on in the air, and it was great to see. And I think he really has taken over that lead back role. And he is a true 3-down back, even though he's 230 plus and, runs like a freight train, but he's also agile. But it concerns me because I don't want New England to overutilize him and run him into the ground, and he's ineffective the last half of the season. So I hope that they're a little bit cautious of that, but his performance the last 3 weeks have been outstanding, and it's been the bright spot of this offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ramondre was a stud, like you said, 72 yards receiving, 71 on the ground. Great. He had a great day. Next one I'm going to go to, we kind of just touched on it. Nick Folk, 5 for 5 on field goals. He was awesome. He had a good day. Most of my goods are going to be a little bit different than what people expect. So this one, I'm going to change it up here. But Nick Folk, 5 for 5. Can't ask for better than that. He had a great day.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jabril Peppers. I feel like he came in, other than the one stupid penalty that he had on the sidelines, he came in and had a great day, playing a lot of minutes or a lot of snaps. I'm in basketball realm because of the Jazz too, so I'm saying minutes, but a lot of snaps because of the injury to Kyle Duggar and him not playing. And he's an exciting player. Our whole safety group is exciting.
A lot of depth.
McCourty, Duggar. You saw a lot of Joshua Bledsoe today. AP has been great. So, but I think Jabril Peppers, he was flying around. He was making plays. He had a TFL, 8 total tackles, 5 of them solos, and he was the leading tackler. And he just brings a ton of energy to the defense. So Jabril Peppers was a good for me.
I agree. Anytime he makes a hit, it's big and he's excited after. So I like that. Next one I'm going to go Devin McCourty. Wasn't all good, but 2 picks. It's hard to say he had a bad day there. I know they were throwing right up to him. It would have been bad if he didn't catch him, but one of those picks was nice on the sideline, keeping his feet in, keeping his knee in. That was good. He did miss a couple plays in coverage. He hasn't been as good as we have known him to be, but he's being asked to do different things with Duggar out. Covering tight ends is not what he's supposed to be doing right now. So I'm going to give McCourty a little pat on the back and say throw him on the good list.
Good. Get D-Mac on there. He deserves it. I think that he has that second pick. He now has the most picks among active players. He tied Marcus Peters at 32, and then the second one was his 33rd. So he now has the most picks among active players, which is good. He deserves that. He's been in a staple of this defense and the whole team. His leadership is incredible. So let me go back to the offensive side. I feel like we could put him on the good list every week, but Jakobi Meyers, 12 targets, 9 receptions, 60 yards, a touchdown. He just does it all. And it doesn't matter if it's Bailey Zappi, if it's Mac Jones, they are going to find Jakobi Meyers. He's going to be open. He's turning into the next great slot coming out of New England, like Wes Welker, like Julian Edelman. And he is, I hope, we've said this for 2 weeks now, I hope he's not playing his way out of New England, because he's going to have a market. Some teams will value what Jakobi Meyers is doing, and I hope that Bill Belichick that he is not willing to pay him that money, because this offense and this passing game without Jakobi Meyers right now would be putrid, and it would be bad. So I know a lot of people were hesitant on Jakobi Meyers this year and saying, I don't know if I'd give him 15 million. I would give him 15 million today, and probably even more, because that's how important he's been to this offense.
Wow. Yeah, I think Jacoby's a staple of this offense. We got a few people here agreeing with you. Jacoby, you can almost always throw him on that list. He's so consistent. He just makes plays. Next guy, a guy I've had on the bad list the past couple weeks. You know who it is?
I'm going to guess, but you go ahead and say it, and I'll tell you if I was right.
Jake Bailey.
I knew it. Yes.
Jake Bailey.
I was contemplating putting him, but I wanted to see if you'd put him.
Yep, Jake Bailey. I'm throwing him on the good list. I've been giving a crap the past couple weeks. Patriots brought in 4 punters for workouts this week. He knows his job's in jeopardy, and he has a great day. Pins a couple inside the 20.
He should have had another one
yards.
inside the 20, but the punt team screwed it up.
Yeah.
That would have been inside the 10 too.
Yep.
Yep.
So I got to throw him on there. I got to give him credit where credit's due. He had a bad week last week. I got on him for it. He had a good week this week. Got to give him praise. So Jake Bailey had a good day.
Well, statistically, he's been the worst punter in the NFL.
He's had a bad year.
So statistically, there's a reason to be doing it. And that's why we all talked about it. Are they going to go get a punter? Or Bill Belichick doesn't usually sign guys to their second deal when they're a punter.
This is why.
I think we're seeing why, but it was good. And the whole field, I'm going to go just kind of a good. And I remember seeing this stat, and I don't know if this is how it ended, but the average start for offense, New England's was at their own 43. The Jets was at like their own 20. That's a 23-yard difference. And when you have an offense that isn't very explosive, you need that. And that was big time. Obviously, the interceptions helped. There was a bad punt right off the rip from the Jets. So, but the average starting field position for this offense, yet they still could not punch the ball into the end zone consistently. You would kind of put that as a bad, but the starting field position was great. Marcus Jones had a great punt return. So there was a lot of good about the starting field position for New England today, and how they were able to use that to their advantage. At least they got some points.
Yep. You got any others on a good list? I got two more.
Yeah, go ahead and share one.
One of them you just mentioned, Marcus Jones. I think he's doing a great job in the punting game. He's way better than Miles Bryant. He's holding on to the football. He made good decisions. One of them he let go into the end zone. It hit at like the 6-yard line. He totally confused the defense, and so it was a touchback. I think, was there a penalty on that though that made it come back? Maybe
the Marcus Jones one.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
there might.
I was watching a couple. I watched a couple games after, so maybe it was one of those. But anyways, he did great. Like you said, he had that one return for like 31 yards or 32 or whatever it was. So Marcus Jones, he's been great back there. I got to give him credit, and I'm excited to see what he continues to do. He's been making plays also on the defense every once in a while. He made a great diving breakup last week, pass breakup on Darnell Mooney. He caught up to him. He's explosive. So Marcus Jones, he's doing good back there. Special teams unit today. Good job.
There we go.
Good job. Especially in the in kick coverage as well. They kept tackling Braxton Berrios at like the 10 to 15 yard line. So that was a huge thing as in the field position game as well.
Yep. I'm going to go with rushing defense, 51 rushing yards. Now, they did not run the ball a lot, and I think this is a totally different story there. This is a very, very bad offensive line, especially with the loss of Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker. They are kind of shuffling things around. Zach Wilson's a tough guy to bring down, so that, pays into some of the lack of sack totals. Now, he did throw interceptions, but to hold a team to 51 rushing yards, no matter who it is, that helps, and that forces the Jets to feel like they have to throw it, even though they couldn't throw it. Now, they did throw for 350 yards, which was kind of surprising to me. I was like, that's crazy that he had that number. A couple big plays. But for them to feel like they had to throw the ball because New England was knocking out the run made it super easy for the DBs to tee off, and we saw it with the 3 interceptions on Zach Wilson.
Do you have any other good ones? I got one more.
Nope. Go ahead.
Last one I got. I don't know if you'll expect this or not, but Zach Wilson. He did a great job today.
He was great.
Football 3 different times. So that was awesome. He really helped us out today.
He did his job.
I'd say he might be at the top of that list of the good, honestly, for who made the biggest impact in this game for us winning. It had to be Zach Wilson, I would say. So I'm going to give him a tap of the back too, doing a good job for us there. Third down defense was pretty good as well. 5 for 14, third down efficiency, holding them too. So that was good. And other than that, I think that's all I got for the goods. I got to pull this comment up real quick by Cody. I think it's a great point. If Aguilar is worth $13 million a year, there's no excuse not to give Jacoby 15 to 20. It's really hard for me to commit to $20 million a year just because you don't see guys like Jacoby Myers don't really make $20 million a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the receiver market's so crazy right now. You got a guy in the slot like Christian Kirk making 22 a year. So it's like if Kirk is making 22, he was way overpaid though, in everybody's opinion, when that contract got signed.
Yeah.
Then you got Tyreek Hill and them making 27, 28, 30. Like it's crazy the money people are making. So I would be okay with Jacoby getting paid $50 million a year because he is so much more reliable and a better receiver than Nelson Aguilar for us. So if they're going to waste that much money on Aguilar, get him on when he's off the books this year. Give that to Jacoby. He deserves it. He's been great.
Yeah. And there's a couple questions before we get into the bad, but Light Shadows asks, is it too early to call this year's draft a success? Personally, I say no, and we did a lot better than most so-called experts said yes. I remember the 2 draft classes that a lot of the experts had complaints on were Seattle and New England. And I think Seattle with Tyreek Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Kenneth Walker, Charles Cross, they killed it with that class. And then New England, Cole Strange has been a lot better than what people thought. Jack Jones, Marcus Jones in the return game. We've seen flashes from Tyquan Thornton. So it's so funny because me and Cole said this, like, yeah, day one, even for the first month, we were like, that was a historically bad draft class. We cannot say this draft class is good. Probably not even right now. Right now, we can say, yeah, hey, we have some good players. But in 2 years from now, what does this draft class look like? It looks like Jack Jones will be a dang good corner. It looks like Marcus Jones can develop into something, if not at least a punt returner. Tyquan Thornton has shown flashes. Pierre Strong and Kevin White, you expect to get opportunities. And Cole Strange, I really think, and this will kind of transition, I kind of had him as a bad today. I think a couple penalties he had. This is one of the first games that I really noticed Cole Strange stand out in a bad way.
He was on mine as well.
Like most of the time, you
great.
haven't heard from him, and that's a good thing as an offensive line. Today,
his first penalty was last week against the Bears, and he had 2 or 3 today. 2?
Yep.
2 today.
And they were pretty big ones too.
Yeah.
So I would say that this draft class has been pretty good up to this point. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be good so far, but yeah, the post draft grades and reactions are such an overreaction, and you never know. You never know about that stuff. So it's good to see some of these rookies contributing, and it without Jack Jones or some of these guys, it would be a little concerning where they'd be.
Yeah, definitely off to a great start. I'd like to see where they are in a year or two, because sometimes people flash, and that's kind of, sometimes people don't develop and get as much more talented than, like, we would expect Jack Jones to keep elevating his play as he gets older and more experienced. Like, that's what I expect. If he stays where he is right now, are we going to call that a smash pick? Maybe, maybe not. Like, we expect him to grow and develop. So right now, off to a great start. I'm really happy with where we are, where we are at. Taekwon, we'll see if he continues to develop. He's only has 3 games under his belt right now. So I'm excited about this draft class. I think we're finally starting to draft better. And I don't know if that's handing off the responsibilities to Matt Groh. I don't know what it is, but whoever's been drafted in the past 2 years, keep them drafting, because they're doing a lot better than we've had in the past decade. So, all right, let's get on to the bad. We're going to be here for about 16 hours if we don't keep going. So, first one on the bad. Who do you got? I'm assuming Cole Strange. I know
I'll take Cole Strange. I felt like I mentioned, like, this was the first time you really heard about him impacting the game negatively, and he did a great job in the early games where he was, one-on-one pass coverage against some really good pass rushers, or pass blocking against some really good pass rushers, and he hasn't forced a lot of pressures. Today he had that 1 sack on him, and then he had the 2 big penalties. So I put Cole Strange there, but honestly, you could put Trent Brown there. You could put a lot of offensive linemen in that list. You could put the whole line in general after 6 sacks.
That was my bad right there, was the rest of the offensive line. I think, excluding Mike Onwenu, I think he's been one of our best offensive linemen this year. He really has been great as he's solidified his spot at that guard position and not been moved around. He's been great. So maybe you throw him on the good list. But the basically the whole O-line let just way too much pressure on Mac. It's hard to have an offense when your O-line is this bad, and they've been doing absolutely awful, and there's no excuse for it because they're talented. So that'd be my first bad.
I'm going to go with, it's tough because this is one of those games where there's just been a lot of average. It was just an average game, right? I mean, there was so many people. I guess if you want to continue to say, Nelson Aguilar comes in, Devontae Parker gets hurt. Nelson Aguilar comes in. He needs to have a big game or, help this offense. He has 1 target or 1 catch on 2 yards, and Kendrick Bourne, they were trying to target him on the interception Mac Jones threw where it got he got hit. But just those 2 guys alone are not getting enough targets. And I get it. Like, you want to get the ball to Ramondre and Jacoby, I get it, but you got to spread the ball around a little. I feel like Mac Jones has been getting honed in on single receivers, and maybe that's a little bit of the offense. The teams know who to cover and when and where they're going to be. They have their play tendencies. They have who they like to throw it to. And it seems like when Jacoby Myers isn't open or Ramondre isn't there on the check down, the play is going to be a broken play, or Mac's going to have to scramble. So I just say the production from the other receivers outside of Jacoby Myers, even throw the tight ends in there. Like, it's just there's not enough production anywhere as a pass catcher outside of Jacoby Myers, and then when Ramondre Stevenson's in the game.
Yeah, I agree. My next one's going to be penalties. Just another game, another series of horrible penalties that are in key situations. It's just not clean football. The defense has been playing, for the most part, pretty penalty-free football. It's the offense is killing them. All the penalties on the offense is horrendous. Usually it's a defense who's making a bunch of mistakes and stuff. For most teams, I would say, like pass interference and offsides, whatever. Oh my God, Uche's offsides today was horrible. That he was. I mean, I think he probably could have caught the snap with how
he was excited. 4th and 10. He's pinning his earbacks. He's trying to go, but yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, that was tough. So that's gonna be my next one. Is just penalties. It's kind of been a theme here for the Patriots the past couple of years, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with our pass rush defense. Now, neither of us put in Judon in our good, which I think we all just at this point expect Judon to be good.
When he doesn't get a sack, you're almost surprised,
right? We did have 2 sacks, Lawrence Guy, Josh Uche, but like I mentioned, you have this Jets offense who's missing Mekhi Becton, it's missing Elijah Vera Tucker, and I think that what I've learned these last 2 weeks without Christian Barmore is he makes a huge difference freeing up other guys. Cause I think that teams have to double team Barmore so much, and teams aren't double teaming Lawrence Guy or Dietrich Wise or some of those other interior pass rushers when Christian Barmore isn't in there. So the missing just presence of Barmore, I think, has dropped our sack numbers, and I'm excited to get him back because I think that it changes blocking schemes. It changes how teams have to be aware of him because you don't want to leave him one-on-one with a guy, with a guard or something. He's too twitchy. He's too fast. He's too big to, guard him consistently, and he's going to get his sacks unless you double team him. So I'd say the only getting 2 sacks today on a banged up, bad offensive line was a little disappointing. But then again, it's shown me the importance of Christian Barmore and how great he has been.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree with you there. Like, as a rookie last year, he was one of the most double team players at defensive tackle position outside of Aaron Donald. That's absurd. Christian Barmore's great. He hasn't put the numbers up, but he's always making an impact and freeing guys up. So this is a great point by Carlos. I had to touch on this. David Andrews, the majority of the time when he's on the field in pass blocking situations, he's dropping back to his left to help Cole Strange out, and he starts there. On Wenu, his play has been tremendous this year, and maybe this is a reason why Cole Strange struggled a little bit. Maybe he didn't have David Andrews' help, and maybe that's why he looks so good. Who knows? But I think this is a great point by Carlos. Just as far as that's a real possibility of why he had some struggles and had some holding penalties. I think it was on that side too. I think it was in between Strange and Ferentz on one of his holding penalties that the guy beat him. So I think that's a really tremendous point here by Carlos. I think that's a very high possibility of why he struggled a little bit more today, was just not having that anchor of David Andrews being there, helping him out and watching out for him. So I think it's a great point by Carlos.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other bads? I
didn't put Mac Jones on here just because I thought he was an almost bad. That pick was horrendous. I'm glad it got called back. That probably would have put him on the bad list just because that would have been a huge momentum swing.
That would have been huge.
Outside of that, nobody really stood out. Jalen Mills hasn't been great this year. He let up one of the big plays early in the game, but no, I mean, nobody specific stood out. It was just kind of a bad game all around, I would say. The defense stepped up in the second half, obviously, but it didn't seem like I wasn't at the end of the game. I wasn't like, oh yeah, that great game got like a win's a win, but that's not how you want to win a football game necessarily. So I'll take
it was honestly it was an ugly game all around.
Yeah,
ugly all around.
Yeah, I agree. So that's all we got for the good bad. Injured Devontae Parker, knee injury. I think like the first play of the game, it looked like a guy kind of rolled up on his knee a little bit. So we'll give you guys an update if we have one by Wednesday, which we should. But I haven't seen anything yet. He was questionable to return. He was trying it out on the sideline, then went to the locker room and got ruled out. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully he's good to go next week. But the guy who's had some injury troubles in the past, hopefully he's all right. It just looked odd. It kind of looked like the guy was diving for the football to break it up and kind of like rolled on his leg after, and it kind of just and knee injuries are scary. So we'll see what happens.
I thought it was a hamstring at first. The way he kind of like pulled up, I thought
he grabbed like the back of it. Almost,
yeah, I was like, maybe he wasn't warm enough, and he jumped, and he just got his hamstring. But yeah, the knee injury. I think that Light Shadow says it here. Parker's previous injuries were always soft tissue damage, hamstrings, stuff like that. So a knee injury is never good. There's so many things that can go wrong with your knee. You got you can meniscus, MCL,
PCL, LCL.
And I don't think if it was an ACL, I don't think he would have been questionable. He probably maybe wouldn't even have walked off. He would have, but he was moving around decent enough for me to probably rule out an ACL. It could be an MCL. It could be a meniscus. And those things vary from 2 to 4, sometimes 6 weeks if you want to go in and get them scoped out and have surgery. And then it's just, about getting your strength and flexibility back. So we'll probably have that update, like Cole said, by Wednesday, and hopefully it's not too bad of news, because the Patriots need him, and they really need any pass catchers they can get.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to do the underdog thing real quick before we head out of here?
Yes, let's do this. So for those of you that don't know, or those of you that are new, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. You guys can go download the app at Underdog, or the Underdog Fantasy app on any app store. You can also play at underdogfantasy.com. if you use code Patriots Drive, which is on the screen in the link below, click the link, you can get your first deposit up to $100 matched by using our code. Obviously, the support for the stream is tremendous and we love it. But if you guys are into pick'ems, over-unders, anything, Underdog has it all. The great thing is it's not titled a sportsbook, so it's legal in 41 of the 50 states in America. So more than likely, if there's not gambling or sports betting in your state, you're probably going to have some luck with Underdog Fantasy. So if you guys want to hop on that train, you can do that. Cole won a good amount of money this week. He was telling me he's been killing it with the picks. I forgot to do it, but I'm in this big ball mania right now, or best ball mania. So I'm, in it to win 10 million, which I'm definitely probably not going to win. There's a basketball one. It's any sport. It doesn't have to be football. And we're going to try to, through the second half of the year, get some more contests going through Underdog Fantasy where you guys can compete against us. Maybe we'll do daily fantasies, and just winner take all. Whoever has the best fantasy team of the day takes all the money, or split the pot or something. So if you guys are interested in that, use code Pats Drive on the screen, click the link in the bio below, and download Underdog Fantasy on any Google Play or App Store you have, and that would be awesome. So we hope that you guys do that, and you guys can join some of our contests in the near future.
Yep, and you don't have to deposit a ton of money. Like Jay said, they match your first deposit up to $100. So you put in $5, you got $10 to work with. You put in $10, you got 20, whatever. So like today, I hit on a 5-leg parlay. I only put in $5, and I got $100 back from that. So it's great. It's a great app. It's fun to do, especially for some of the other games. I don't love to bet on the Patriots just because I want to I just want to watch the Patriots, and I don't want to mess with any of the voodoo there for the Pats. So I usually bet on other games. And I did bet on Nick Folk today over for field goals, and that was
a good bet. So
yeah, but so yeah, I mean, a $5 bet you can turn into $100 if you hit a 5-leg parlay. I wish I would have put in more, because then I would have had a really great day. But yeah, you can do 2-leg, 3-leg, whatever. It's a great app. It's really fun. So if you guys get a chance, just go check it out at least. And if you guys want to deposit $5-10, whatever it is, just to get yourself started and have some fun betting on games. Obviously, bet responsibly. Don't do anything crazy, but use code Pats Drive. It's right there on the graphic here. So that's all we got for you today. Jace, you got anything else?
I don't. Thank you guys for all the support. Sorry we missed the last couple post games, pre games, but yeah, we'll be back. We had some complications, some scheduling issues. We're both busy. And this is obviously a side hobby. That's why any support you guys have, whether you donate during the live streams, use code Pats Drive at Underdog, or just come in and continue to like, subscribe, and comment. We love interacting with all you guys, and this stream's more about you guys than it is about us. We wanted to make a channel where we could come in, interact with Patriots fans, and just make a community. And I feel like we're on the way to do that. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagrams, which is on the screen. And the other thing is make sure you guys share this podcast. We would love, and we had a ton of support, and we've continued to have a ton of support growing throughout the offseason. But we hope you guys share this with any other Patriots fans so we can continue to grow and continue to have these great comments. And hopefully the Patriots make a run here in the upcoming weeks. But make sure you guys tune into our live show, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Stay up to date. But look for the times. It'll probably be about 9 o'clock Eastern time, or 8 o'clock Eastern time. Sorry. I'm 2 hours different from Cole, so I always got to do quick math, time zone math in my head when we're going live. But most likely around 8 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday or Thursday to preview our next game. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. All the guys who always support every show. We appreciate you guys. Light Shadows, Carlos, Mike, all you guys who are always here. We appreciate all the everyday guys and all the new guys watching. MA football guy, seems like a new guy commenting on here.
Red Patriot 99's been coming in lately.
Yep.
He's the new one. Cody, Ashton's a new one. Yeah, any of you guys new
Cody's
or
here.
old,
Cody's here a lot. It seems like Ashton looks like he's new. So yeah, we appreciate you guys coming on here. Anytime you guys get the chance, commenting, answering your questions, we appreciate all the support. So until then, we will see you guys Wednesday or Thursday.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.